I love traveling as a minimalist with just a personal item-sized bag, and I have lots of videos where I show you exactly what I bring on my minimalist trips. But in this video, I want to give you more general tips about minimalist packing to help you get started. Some of these tips you might have already heard in one of my other videos, some you might not have, but here they're all combined, all my packing tips to help you get started traveling as a minimalist. Tip number 1, you don't need to buy new things. I know the temptation might be to get like a whole new wardrobe, a whole new bag and everything just for a minimalist packing trip, but it's really not necessary, not at all. You can just use what you already have. For example, when I started minimalist traveling, I used the old school bag of mine for a backpack. A backpack is important, we'll talk about that more later, but if you already have a bag that's the right size for minimalist traveling, just use it. There's no need to buy a new bag, there's no need to buy a new wardrobe. I always use like just normal clothes. I don't have any clothes particular for minimalist traveling, so no need to buy anything there. And also the same goes for toiletries. Of course, it depends on how big your toiletries are, but if you have like a normal sized toothpaste, for example, there's no need to buy like those super tiny ones for a trip. Just use your normal stuff. So the first thing, look at what you have at home and use the things you have at home and use the things you already like using. That's also an important thing. It's really annoying if you buy something specifically for a trip and during the trip you realize you don't even like the thing. And speaking of, you don't need to buy new clothes. Tip number 2, use clothes you can mix and match. So it doesn't need to be new clothes, just look in your wardrobe and pick items you can mix and match. This is called a capsule wardrobe, when you have different pieces, like a few tops and a few bottoms, and you can mix and match them to create new outfits. Because as a minimalist, you'll naturally take fewer pieces of clothing, but if you bring pieces you can mix and match, it looks like you have more outfits than you actually do, because each new combination looks like a new outfit. The next tip is closely tied together with picking your wardrobe. Minimalism can be colorful. I know a lot of minimalist travelers like to wear black. I do not. I like colorful clothes and I bring colorful clothes on my traveling trips. It really depends on you. If you like wearing black, that's fine. Wear black on your holiday. But if you don't need to wear black in order to travel as a minimalist. You can bring colorful clothes. The important thing is just that they still mix and match. And if you want to have a look at how I create a winter capsule wardrobe, you can watch the video here. And speaking of colder weather, we'll come to our next tip, number 4. It's better to layer up than to bring loads of bulky items. Layering your clothes is especially good if you travel in different seasons. So for example, if I travel in spring or fall, I really love bringing a skirt and some tights. And depending on how warm it is, if it's like a really warm day, I can wear just a skirt with like bare legs underneath. If it gets a little bit colder, I'll wear like a thin pair of tights. And if it's really cold, I might even wear like a thin pair of tights and a thick pair of tights over it, like underneath the skirt. So like layering. The same goes for my tops. So on a very hot day, I might wear just like a top. If it gets a bit colder, I might wear the top underneath it, a long sleeve t-shirt, and so on. So you're set for all like different kinds of temperatures. But even if you layer your clothes, you will still have some items that are bulkier than other items. And tip number 5, wear your bulkiest items while traveling. This tip was especially useful at the beginning for me when I started traveling as minimalist. I would wear like my bulky hiking shoes when traveling. Nowadays, I've actually switched to barefoot shoes. You can watch a video about that here. Even now, my hiking shoes also don't take up that much space anymore. And I still do that like in winter. If I go somewhere, I will wear my bulky winter jacket on my travel days. A little side note, you can even put stuff in your pocket if you really don't have space for it in your bag anymore on the way home. That's just like a last resort kind of solution. I don't advocate for having half of your stuff in your pockets from the go. The goal is to minimize what you bring, but there is always the option to put stuff in your pockets. Just say, I know it can be very daunting to travel in colder weather with just a personal item-sized bag, or maybe even just carry-on bag. That's why tip number 6, start traveling as a minimalist in warmer weather. Like a summer trip is easier to pack as a minimalist than a winter trip because your clothes will naturally be more lightweight. They will be smaller because you bring more like kind of shorts or skirts compared to like jeans or like other long pants. And summer clothes are usually also made from a lighter material, so they take up less space in your bag. If it's an option, start traveling as a minimalist in summer. You can watch my summer packing video here, what I actually bring on a summer trip. But if you're more experienced, it's totally doable to travel in winter as well. You can watch my winter packing video here. But yeah, If you have the option, the easiest way to start is a summer trip. I know we have already talked a lot about clothes, but we haven't talked about how much clothes to bring. Tip number 7, pack only clothes for 1 week. So no matter how long your trip is, well, obviously if your trip is shorter than 7 days, bring less clothes, but no matter how long your trip is, if you travel for multiple weeks at a time and you only want to bring a personal item size bag, you need to do laundry. There's simply no way around it. The maximum trip length I would go for without doing laundry is 10 days. But any longer than that, pack only for 7 days, do laundry once a week. Of course, there's also the option to do some laundry in the sink. Personally, I'm not a big fan of that. I just hate doing laundry by hand. If you stay in an apartment, you might have a laundry machine in the apartment anyway. And for doing laundry, the best thing as a minimalist is to bring laundry detergent sheets. Because a lot of times I've stayed at apartments and they had a washing machine, but they didn't have any laundry detergent. That can be really annoying if you need to buy like a whole bottle or something just for doing laundry like once or twice. So now I always bring laundry detergent sheets with me. They're super lightweight and they take up almost no space in your bag. Just make sure you put them somewhere where they can't get wet, otherwise they will start dissolving and turn into laundry detergent in your bag. You wouldn't want that. Now, we have already talked a lot about clothing, but before we actually pack it in our bag, I always recommend to spread everything out, all things you want to bring. So either on the floor or on the bed or wherever you have space for that. Spread everything out. Double check again your clothing choices. Does everything match with each other? Are there items that are too similar to each other? You might want to skip one. The same goes for electronics and toiletries, but we'll talk a little bit more about that later. If there is something you're not sure about, don't bring it. That's already the next tip. Do not bring just in case items, because the case almost never happens. So you won't need them. Only bring stuff you know you will use. I don't think there's ever been an instance where I brought a just-in-case item and I actually needed it. I remember like back before I started traveling as a minimalist, I would bring so many things in my massive backpack and I would only use like half of the stuff I brought with me. Bring no just-in-case items also goes for electronics. So for example, if you've never used an ebook reader on a holiday, don't bring it. Same for toiletries. Try to minimize your toiletries. Really stick to the basics you use every single day. Leave the rest at home. Right now, I'll just share my number 1 tip about minimizing toiletries, switching to solid products. Instead of a bottle of shampoo, I bring a shampoo bar because the bottle of shampoo is really bulky. So instead of a shampoo bottle, I bring a shampoo bar. And to make it even more minimalist, my shampoo bar also functions as a shower gel. Bringing solid shampoo bars is great for airport security because they're solid, so you don't need to worry about the liquid restrictions and they last you longer. Just make sure they're stored in a dry place. The best way to transport a shampoo bar is in a special dry bag. So you can put the wet shampoo bar inside. It dries in the inside, but the outside stays dry. They are really great for traveling. If you want more tips, you can watch my toiletry video here. Next up, choose the right bag. The bag is the most important thing when traveling as a minimalist because you'll only travel with this one bag. It doesn't mean that you have to buy like a super fancy, expensive new backpack. If you already have one that fits, perfect, use that one. The most important thing about a backpack is that you choose a backpack that's not too big. I know it from experience. If I have a bag that's too big, I naturally pack too many things. So I always travel with a backpack that's under 30 liters. So usually my backpack is between 25, 26 liters. Other things that are important for me in a backpack is that it's comfortable to carry, that it's lightweight. So I always look for a backpack that's less than 1 kilo when it's empty. I also always make sure it has a pocket for a water bottle on the outside. And I like some organizational compartments, but I don't need that many. But that's really personal preference, how many compartments you want inside a backpack. Over the years, I've tested a lot of different personal item size backpacks and I've made a video of my favorite ones. You can watch it here. And to stay organized within a backpack, I also love packing cubes. They keep everything organized within your bag. So for example, I use one packing cube for all my clothes. When I pack my clothes, I pack them in a packing cube, and if it doesn't fit, I know I have too many clothes. Actually, I don't think packing cubes save you that much space, but I just love them for organization. I love that all my clothes are in one spot. They're all in one packing cube. It makes packing and unpacking easier if I know everything has its own space inside my bag. I even have like a packing cube video you can watch here. Even though minimalist travel is often called one bag travel, and while I travel from city to city with just one bag, it doesn't actually mean I only bring one bag. Inside my bag, I have a different bag. I always bring a day bag because even though my normal backpack isn't that big, still, if I walk around the city all day long or if I do a day trip, I don't want to take my main bag. That's why I bring a smaller day bag. I know the most minimalist option would be one of those super tiny foldable backpacks. But back to the point that you don't need to buy new things. I just bring my normal drawstring bag, the one I also use when I'm at home and I go out for the day. Because for me at least, those super foldable backpacks are from that material that makes me a little bit like sweaty and stuff. And yeah, I don't like that. So there's really no need to buy new things all the time. And now we're already at my last tip, to create a checklist. And then when you come home, check what did you actually use and what didn't you use. That way you can always improve it for your next trip. And if you have no idea where to even start with a checklist, I created one just for you and it's totally free. I'll leave a link to it in the description, or you can scan the QR code here. In this checklist I created, you can add things you like to bring, you can delete things I recommend but you don't need them, because there really is no checklist that's perfect for everyone. You always need to adjust it to what you want, what you need, and what you use. So yeah, just grab my checklist or start your own checklist, write what you bring on a trip, and then after your trip, it's important to quickly go through your checklist and update it, what you missed or what was too much. So yeah, those were all my tips for how to get started traveling as minimalist. I hope the tips helped you, and if you have any more tips, please share them in the comments. And yeah, thanks for watching. Bye!